Welcome to Watcher DM. I'm Gabriel. Today I'm doing a flip-through review of Slate and Chalcedony by Melsonian Arts Council. It is an adventure for Troika, written by Daniel Sell. I'm pretty sure the art in here is Andrew Walters. Yes, illustrations by Andrew Walters. Yeah, really enjoyed reading and kind of feeling and seeing and owning this book. As you can see, the cover has this great foil on it. Really, really evocative vibes. The vibes are thick. It's a cool artifact. The book is cool, regardless of what I'm about to say. I recently ran this for my party, and I'm going to say right out of the gate, I don't want to bury the lead. Like most Troika adventures, you should be prepared to do some work and do that work on the spot. Because I think with this adventure and with many others from the Melsonian Arts Council, it feels like you're well supported until you get into that moment and your party is like, well, what about this? And you're like, yeah, book doesn't say anything about that. Not mentioned at all. So we're going to do the flip-through review, and we're just going to go ahead and kind of go through what we've got. There is a cool blackout version of the map here. So if you want to use this for digital representation or show your party what the silhouette of the towers is, this is for you. This is the Slate Tower, this is the Chalcedony Tower, and this is the umbilical cord between them. This is the map. It's a little wild to read this map, but it is usable in the end. It is pretty usable. So the Slate Tower is, I think, 44 or 45 distinct room entries. So those are listed in the book as S01 through S45. The red drawn rooms, the red ink rooms, are entryways into the vent system, and the vent system is represented on the map separately through this little thing here. In most cases, the entries and exits for the vents are not described in the room descriptions. So you're going to want to kind of really get your head around how these attach to the rooms and just be ready to add some description to the rooms to deal with things like entrances and exits. Because the entrances and exits are not well described in the rooms. Also, they put some, markers here in the halls. So, this is a stairway going up. It's room 5. This stairway going up is 27. But, other pathways don't really have that feature. So, you'll have to do a little bit of noodling. I'd suggest giving it a good solid, 2 read-throughs before you really get what's going on in Slate. Chalcedony has its own stuff going on. So Chalcedony, the red ink here, are the brain nodes, or neural nodes for a neural tree that's found in room 3, or it starts in room 3. This is kind of like a environmental, boss / hazard. It can be an ally. It's a really interesting mechanic. But it can be a little difficult to adjudicate. Anyway, those are the maps. Again, beautiful art, really fun. This is a wild piece here where it's black on black art, which cool. Looks cool. We just got the setup there. So this is wonderfully added, actually, the how to include the towers in your campaign. We ended up using, I think, the Portal to the Demon Sea as a feature that we were the party's going to go check out the Demon Sea. And then the other one was save the world, basically, which I think the Eye of Maze. So there's a couple of different ways to tie it in. Of course, you could make up your own. Approaching the towers, pretty straightforward for a party, but they do cover it. And then it goes right into the Tower of Slate. Now, Slate starts, so does Chalcedony, actually. They both start with their key ups at the bottom of the tower. So room 1 here and room 1 here are S1 and C1 respectively. And kind of right out the gate, the party is going to be interacting with some NPCs that have been stuck here. So, yeah, these guys are kind of wild. You've got some pretty good support here for the deranged delegates and how to interact with them. And then kind of once the party has gone around the first floor, which is kind of rooms 1 through 4, they're going to pretty quickly want to get on those stairs and start heading up. Now, the rooms attached to the stairs sometimes are locked, sometimes are not, but there's kind of so many of them, and they're kind of difficult for the party to know what to do in each of them, that it's pretty likely that the party's just going to go straight shot up to room 18 before they realize that they've kind of walked past 40% of the dungeon. They might come back through there, or they might be really thorough and dig around in here. There isn't really much in there that's going to help them achieve their objectives, but like all Melsonia games, there's a lot of fun in there, so, feel free to play around with that. I think that's what the value is in these places. But at the end of the day, yeah, I don't... none of this stuff is really going to impact the players. 10, S10, if the party gets to this room, it's so weird that this room is here in the middle. The only way to get here is through the vent system. So the party would have had to have gone through the vents here and through the room 19, which we'll get to get to 10. And 10 has some crazy stuff in it. But the party's almost certainly not going to end up there. And I'll show you why. So the party goes up to 18. They're likely going to go crawling around up here. They're not going to want to go in the butthole on a tube. But if they finally find their way into the vents are going to lead them back to 19 here. Now 19, S19, has the antibiotic kraken in it. It is a kind of kraken-like biological defense mechanism. It's like, what do they call that? An immune system for the tower. In the run that I just did, my party came in here, and it says that it can be full of water or empty, 3 in 6 chance. So I rolled and got a 5, which meant, well, actually, it's unclear what it means, because what they wrote here is, which may or may not be full, 3 in 6 chance. Well, 3 in 6 chance of may, or 3 in 6 chance of may not? Which is it? Don't get me wrong, I just went with what I thought it meant at the moment, but, that writing could be clearer. I don't think that would hurt anybody to take another pass. S21 is kind of silly. Great view, dizzyingly vertiginous. Really? Vertiginous? Okay. Yeah, let's go with that. There is some fun characters up here, though. 23, 24, 25, and 26 are some great rooms. So I really hope your players go up here and engage with this. One of these characters is, spitting out mouthfuls of teeth because of a spell. By the way, the spells in here, there's a bunch of them. They're in the back, Appendix B, starting on page 72. There's a bunch of new spells. They are all equally weird and useless. But they're fun. Also, something that I did not do a very good job of during my playthrough is incidents. So it says here to roll d6 every 10 minutes. On a 1, you may roll on the following tables to determine what occurs. I forgot about this for at least a session and a half. Also, 10 minutes. Is that 10 minutes in game or 10 minutes in real time? I think it's 10 minutes in real time. I think that's what they meant. That would be pretty cool, actually. I think a real-time counter for that would be great, but I did not have a timer running, and that would have really, really helped. Almost all of these are for Slate Tower. So the Slate Tower incidents is this whole set here, and goes on to these pages here. Then you've got the Chalcedony Tower incidents, and I think it's just this one spread. So not a ton in Chalcedony Tower in terms of incidents. Anyway, back to the adventure. So, you've got some really fun little areas here. Each room described very strangely. One of these has, I think it's 46. Oh, the 46 is the last one, actually. That's funny. My party went from 21 to 46. A lot of these rooms are going to get left if they don't know what they're looking for. The Eye of Maze is in S33. Again, my party never even went near that room. Well, kind of near it. They went through 32, and at one point they were in 31, but they never ended up in 33. So they wouldn't have gotten the Eye of Maze. There's a really strange lump of flesh in 41. I'm just going to skip to that. This is the strangest encounter I have ever read in any book anywhere, ever. Partway up the ladder, a fleshy mass clings to the wall. This lump is a rescue mission sent to save the fleshy mass in S16, and has taken years to get this far. It moves so slowly that it appears stationary, and its only method of communication is through harmless, sweet-smelling spores, only comprehensible to its own kind. If the party can fathom some method to communicate with it, they learn that it has been sent here as the champion of its people to rescue a member of its royal family. If it ever reaches its target, the two masses merge, bloom into billions of spores, and drift out of the tower. Cool. What? Like, I just read this to my players. I was like, I don't even care that you don't know how to communicate with this thing. I'm reading you this because it was fun to read. But, like, you would never know this. There is zero chance that you would find a way to communicate. I don't, whatever. It's fine. It's fine. It's very fun, but not tremendously useful for an adventure, if I'm being totally honest. One of the things that I find really interesting about Melsonia's work is, like, you'll go from having a location that has two extremely brief sentences to a location that has a page and a half of writing. It's pretty wild. It's fine, I think, by and large, but it can definitely kind of jolt you as you're moving through the spaces. So 43, for instance, is up at the top here. Now, there's a good reason that it's got a whole page. I'm pretty sure this is where the gateway is. Oh no, is this the... Yes. This is the bath. So Slate Wizard is in here bathing, I think. Yes. And so, like, this is kind of like one of the boss fights. Anyway, fun stuff. 44, 45, and 46 is most of this outdoor stuff. And you've got the harpy pigs, which are fun. You've got ape men. They're all over this adventure. And then we go on to the promusic cord. That is the umbilical style cord between Slate and Chalcedony there. My party went down this tube. They got to the end. I told them it ended in a solid, tightened wall. They didn't take no for an answer, and they were pressing different ways to get through it. Ultimately, they got through it. I think most parties would, with a DM who's kind of yes-anding what's going on, or at least giving them a shot. The downside to that is that coming through here and getting into Chalcedony through that means that you are short-circuiting directly to C19, though the text doesn't say that's where it leads. That's where the art indicates it leads to. And C19 is the Chalcedony Wizard. It's literally the end boss for the Chalcedony Tower. So don't do what I did. Tell them no, it can't be broken. Send them back the way they came. They'll be pissed, but whatever. They'll get to see more of the dungeon. It's fine. Or, do what I did. Let them kill the wizard, and they almost died. It's a hell of a fight. The Chalcedony Wizard is pretty wild. But we'll get to that. Okay. So, Chalcedony Tower, I think I can tell you right now, I wouldn't know what's on these pages. I read them a few times, but they are, by and large, not used because my party never went this way. C3 is critical. You need to read this if you want to understand how Chalcedony Tower works. It has the brain cluster stuff in it and the neuron tree. The neuron tree is described in the monster section here on page 65. And these brain clusters are found all throughout the dungeon. So their effects are keyed off of this. Good luck. I don't know. This is a weird thing. But good luck with it. C4, you go through, again, this is just like Slate Tower, where you're kind of heading up the numbers as you go. There are bone roaches throughout this. Those are super fun creatures. They are easy to kill. They're fun to battle against, and everybody hates them because they're gross. So you're just going to have a great time watching your players squirm and want to kill these things, and that's always fun. And then, yeah, the whole adventure really ends, I think, in C19, where the party fights the Chalcedony Wizard. Now, the Chalcedony Wizard is a two-phase fight. He has a face. Let's see if I can get to it here. Chalcedony Wizard, face. So the way that this is described in here is it's made of two parts, the face and the core. The face blocks the tube to the core. It has 36 stamina and 0 armor. The core is a Chalcedony stone at the center of the helical bone structure with 7 stamina and 4 armor. Now, a 4 armor enemy is usually that's kind of a problem, but anybody with a sword is not going to be able to do less than like 4 points of damage, and 7 stamina just ain't going to hold. So once they get past the face, this is pretty much done deal. Now, every time the Chalcedony Wizard's turn comes up on initiative, you roll on this table for a random spell effect. Most of the ones that we hit today were pretty weird, but not damaging. They weren't going to be a big deal. The party mostly dealt with the bite attack, so his damage as Modest Beast is from the bite. Now, it doesn't really make clear here that the face is the only thing that bites, but I did take it to mean that. So once the party got past the face, there were no more bite attacks happening, and they were just able to kind of wail on the stone, with the spell casting effect being the effect during the fight. Anyway, it was a fun fight. I think it had tension. It was great. It was super strange, which I think is what you're playing Troika for. So I recommend it. I think it's good. Like, you should run this adventure. It's fun. I'm not a huge fan of the organization. Having all the monster stat blocks kind of back here with the incident stuff kind of back here. I see why they did it. I really think I would have preferred to have like the Chalcedony incidents like near the Chalcedony Tower, and likewise with Slate. And then the monster stat blocks, I think they do appear largely in the text. Oh, you know what? They probably don't, actually. No, I'm saying that out loud, and I know it's not true. All the monster stat blocks are in this one section in the back. I'm a fan of having stat blocks in line, kind of near where they're going to be used, but these stat blocks tend to be more like a really kind of blocky descriptive text, despite the stats themselves being relatively small and the main being provided. I also found the mains in this adventure to not be as crazy as I was expecting, given the wildness of the creatures. That's fine. I've just kind of become accustomed to reading some really bizarre stuff in these main tables, and this was okay. I've seen better. Yeah, and then once we get back here, we're at new spells, prophecies. I don't think we did not use this. This was something that comes up from, I think one of the critters in here yells out prophecies, or it's like one of the brain parts creates prophecies in the minds of the people. Like, yeah, this mechanic just never came up for us. We are actually going to be continuing the adventure as the party leaves the towers, but they did get through the body of work here, and I just ran it, so I wanted to do this flip through in review while it was still fresh. Again, beautiful book. Honestly, well written, super fun to read, challenging to run. I would probably go at this again with some notes, just kind of on hand, a little more tools, and try to think more about how my players are going to deal with knowing what's in each room, given that some of the room descriptions are pretty sparse. I did, on my last session, start using the Foundry VTT module from Hod Publishing to run this, and I actually found it pretty helpful, if only for the fact that the Hod Publishing module allows you to, like, use the built-in combat tracker instead of needing to, like, keep Technical Grimoire open to do combat tracking. The game was online, so it really made sense. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope you will pick up Slate and Chalcedony, support Melsonia Arts Council. They're really, really great guys, and their work is just fun. So, yeah, do that. If you want to support Watch Your DM, you can go pick up our stuff at watchyourdm.com. Come join our mailing list. It's free. We'll send you cool stuff. And otherwise, I hope you have a wonderful day. Also, yeah, see you later.